We know these new restrictions will create inconvenience for everyone. It's not easy because in the month of May there are 3 public holidays.
This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Chao Suan.
Good evening, I'm Dylan Ang. With a sudden jump in community cases and the emergence of Singapore's first hospital cluster this week, everyone is being urged to have no more than 2 social gatherings a day, and that's not all.
To avoid an uncontrolled resurgence of community cases, the government is asking Singaporeans to avoid going to crowded places and stay home where possible. Keep groups as small as possible and stick to a regular group of contacts.
On top of all that, additional measures will be implemented at these places. At malls and large standalone stores, the occupancy limit will be reduced 1 person per 10 square metre of gross floor area, an increase from 8 square metres. At popular malls, Lucky Plaza and Peninsula Plaza, the odd and even date entry restrictions on Sundays will be reinstated. Outdoor barbecue pits and campsites will be closed to the public as well. And all attractions that have received prior approval will be permitted to operate at 50% capacity, a reduction from 65%. The measures come ahead of 3 public holidays in the month of May.
We have May Day coming up tomorrow, Hari Raya later on, and then Vesak Day toward the end of May. I know many are looking forward to these public holidays. You would have made plans, you may want to gather together, you may want to socialize, meet your family and friends, but I seek everyone's cooperation to scale back your social activities and comply with all the prevailing rules. This is the only way we can ensure that we slow down the spread of the virus in the community.
The tighter measures come as 9 new COVID-19 infections were recorded today. Among the 9, 8 are linked cases, with 4 traced to the cluster at Tan Tock Seng Hospital. An additional 15 cases were imported and placed on stay-home notice upon arrival here.
In the past few days, some of the community cases found have been vaccinated against COVID-19, either fully or partially, leading to questions over the efficacy of the vaccines. Minister Lawrence Wong responds.
We always knew that vaccinations are not 100%. That's nothing new. The fact that breakthrough infections can happen is something we already knew about. So we should not, overreact to the news of breakthrough infections, or worse, make the biggest mistake, which is to say that, vaccinations don't work and therefore maybe there is no need for a vaccine. I think that would be disastrous, because the vaccinations do work. They protect yourself, first of all, from the risk of severe disease, and they do help to reduce transmission. It's not 100%, but there is an impact. And the more of us who are vaccinated, the bigger the impact will be in reducing overall transmission of the virus in our community. So once again, we really encourage everyone who's medically eligible or who are in the age groups to get yourselves vaccinated. Make a booking if you have not done so already.
Now, these concerns arose after several of the cases from the Tan Tock Seng Hospital cluster had already been vaccinated. The cluster has grown to 13 and it will be aggressively ring-fenced.
The measures include the closure of all public places visited by the cases during their likely infectious period for 2 days for cleaning and to facilitate testing of the staff and workers at these affected areas.
TTSH has also strengthened the measures to contain transmission, including locking down all affected wards and testing all the patients and staff in those wards. To date, it has transferred 61 patients to NCID and placed 76 members of staff on leave of absence awaiting their quarantine orders. It anticipates having to move even more staff as further contact tracing is done. Staff and patient movement in all the main wards have been minimized and no visitors are allowed into the hospital except for critically ill patients.
This current situation is of concern, and we are acting fast with a 3-pronged approach to contain, control, and to cast a wide net to secure the safety and well-being of our patients and staff. First, our immediate containment measures. Our hospital's priority is to contain the situation and to care for our patients and our staff who have been confirmed with COVID-19. We have taken immediate steps to treat and isolate them at NCID. Some of our patients are elderly and with multiple comorbidities, so we are monitoring them very closely.
Now, border controls will also be tightened further in response to a sharp rise in cases overseas. All long-term pass holders and short-term visitors with recent travel history to Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka will not be allowed to enter or transit through Singapore. They must complete an additional 7-day stay-home notice at dedicated facilities if they haven't completed their 14-day quarantine by Sunday night. Meanwhile, travellers arriving from Thailand will have to serve their 14-day SHN at dedicated facilities, which they can't opt out of, even if they have obtained prior approval.
Now, for more on the updates and measures announced today, visit straitstimes.com for all the latest news and reactions. And you can watch the full news conference on ST's YouTube channel.
Now, around the world, the coronavirus situation continues to escalate. India, the global epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic, saw new infections climbing to more than 386,000 today, a new global record. In the country's worst-hit areas, hospitals remain under severe strain, suffering critical shortages of oxygen, ventilators and beds. Even vaccines are running low, with all vaccination centers in Mumbai shutting for 3 days starting today.
And many countries are also introducing further restrictions as infections continue to rise. In Asia, South Korea has extended its tightened quarantine measures amid lingering worry about a small cluster of COVID-19 infections in the Seoul metropolitan area. The ban on any gathering of 5 or more people will be imposed for 3 more weeks across the country.
Slightly further from our shores, Turkey has also gone into its first full lockdown, with measures including an alcohol sales ban kicking into effect. The 17-day lockdown, which started yesterday, will see schools and most shops closing and people required to mostly stay at home.
Now, if you haven't gotten around to using your Singapore Rediscovers vouchers, fret not. The Singapore Tourism Board has announced that the voucher scheme will be extended for another 6 months to 31st December. The STB also said that as of 30th April, over 1 million citizens have used their SRV at least once, making a total of 1.3 million transactions. To date, the SRV scheme has contributed over $200 million to Singapore's tourism-related businesses. Now, so if you haven't used your vouchers yet, the weekend is coming up.
So Suen, I haven't used my vouchers yet, but I'm thinking of checking out the Star Wars exhibition. You have, right? How did you use it on?
Well, cool, for one. I have been to that Star Wars exhibition and I think you'll really like it. But I used my vouchers on Universal Studios. My first time going since it first opened years ago, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, speaking of fun, it's been a while since I've seen an 8-goal thriller. That's right, Manchester United hitting Roma for 6 in the semi-final of the Europa League. Goals from Pogba, Greenwood and 2 apiece from Fernandes and Cavani sealed a commanding first-leg home advantage.
And here's a fun fact. United became the first team to score 6 goals in a major European semi-final since 1964.
It was a sluggish first half for United though, who only turned it around in the second 45. Just look at Fernandes' tweet where he joked, "Hope you didn't stop watching at half-time," with a laughing emoji. Now that's not all. Responding to a tweet that he woke up hungry, the playmaker replied that he is now full. Bet he is after that wonderful performance. Meanwhile, Villarreal edged past Suen's Arsenal with a 2-1 victory, a Nicola Pepe penalty giving the Gunners a crucial away goal ahead of the second leg in the bid to reach a second Europa League final in 3 years.
Well, Dylan, anything can happen in that second leg. With both matchups happening next Friday, 3 a.m. Singapore time, keeping my fingers crossed for that one.
Now, if you're impatient though, a blockbuster clash in the Premier League awaits this weekend as Manchester United take on Liverpool, their 3rd meeting of the season. That's at 11:30 p.m. on Sunday. Now, Suen, I'm a Marvel fan, so I've been very excited since I heard about this. Marvel superheroes have landed in Singapore and they're not shying away from the action.
Say hello to Asia's first Marvel 4D cinema, where you'll be able to see them come to life. At Wax Museum, Madame Tussauds, Singapore. Heroes like Spider-Man, Black Panther and Thor will grace the screen of the hyper-realistic animated film. And like any 4D movie, you'll be able to experience wind-chilling, water-soaking and face-flinching special effects.
Sounds like a lot of fun for the whole family. Tickets are available now on their website.
Sounds really cool. I can't wait for the weekend. Well, on that note, we wrap up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening. We'll see you Monday.